milestone. This is a move of God. We are overjoyed to celebrate 25 years of ministry, 25 years of preaching the gospel, touching hearts, transforming lives, and building the kingdom of God. To our faithful listeners, partners, and supporters, thank you for being part of the Growth family. Your prayers, your presence, and your love have helped carry this ministry.
Growth Radio, Growth Radio, Growth Radio, national, regional, international, establishing the will of God in the earth as it is in heaven, and making people feel like family.
Let's go. This is your radio.
We are Growth Radio, opening the gates for the King of Glory, the Lord, strong and mighty, the Lord, mighty in battle.
Join me, David Bajnath, on the program Life Lessons from the Bible every Thursday at 7 p.m. right here on Growth Radio. In this program, we will discuss biblical lessons for daily living and the solutions God gave us to face life's problems. We will also be studying Bible prophecies to give you a biblical worldview of current events and to help you prepare for things which are to come. Join me live on YouTube, Facebook, growthradiott.com, and our allied stations. Life lessons from the Bible. Learn the principles. Live the successful life. Today's program is streaming live on TuneIn Radio, Radio Garden, Listen to My Radio, To God Be the Glory Radio, Radio.net, YouTube, Facebook, and growthradiott.com. If you would like to get further information or contact us on any matter, you could do so using the email address support@growthradiott.com. And for prayer requests, you could contact us using the email address prayer@growthradiott.com. And of course, you could always contact us via WhatsApp using the number 1-868-495-0903. If you would like to get more content from me, David Bajnath, you could look for me on YouTube at my YouTube channel, Life Lessons from the Bible. And while you are there, you can subscribe and click the notification bell. And of course, you could also follow me on Facebook, David Bajnath. You can also contact me via WhatsApp using the number 1-868-321-9882. Well, good evening to you and welcome once again live here on Growth Radio. So great to be joining with you, and as usual, let me say welcome wherever you are joining us from. As usual, I'm so happy that you have taken the time to be with me. I know we all have so many different things to do, a number of things to do, different things that we could put our time into. So the very fact that you have chosen to take some of your time to spend with me on this program, to hear some of the life lessons, is really, I'm appreciative of that. I want to say thank you. And trusting God that these next few moments together would be a blessing to you and a benefit to you, since you have taken the time to invest it in this program. And so let me say good evening to you, those here in Trinidad and Tobago, still Sweet TNT. We still call it Sweet TNT. Good evening to you. We have been having some mixed weather, some rainy weather, a little bit of sunshine. But good evening to those of you joining with me in Trinidad and in Tobago, the Caribbean islands, the United States. We have persons who even look at join our program from Europe, some persons from Germany, other countries, even in the Middle East and Israel as well. So we have a wide variety of listenership and even viewership, those who join us live on Facebook and on YouTube. So wherever you are joining us from, wherever you are getting this radio program from, even on TuneIn Radio, Radio Garden, and all the others, good evening, good morning, and blessings to you. And we look forward to spending a great time with each other on this program today. Today we have been looking for the last few programs, or quite a few programs, well, on the topic of spiritual warfare, and we have we put a pause on that. We'll probably come back to that some other time, a little later on. But we, in this program and in some other programs to come, we will be looking at different issues related to finances and other matters, some general matters as well, as we continue to give some life lessons, some life principles for us as we focus on the kingdom and live in the kingdom lifestyle. We should be having some persons joining with us a little later on to do a live program, a live interview, sorry, and to discuss some issues as it relates, as I said, finances and some other topics as well. I also want to mention, not in this program, but we have some programs coming up where we will be dealing with a lot of some more practical. I mean, all of the programming we have done so far have been practical. But we want to continue doing some more things that talking and getting into some topics that is more relevant to us. And like I say, one of the things we'll be talking about tonight is finances, the Christian and finances, and in the interview that we should be doing a little later on in the program. But in programs to come, we'll be getting some more details in finances as well, touching on some principles for you and me as we manage our finances as Christians in this world. One of the things is, for me, that's very interesting. I've been doing a number of studies in Bible prophecy, the book of Revelation and other prophetic scriptures. And when you understand Bible prophecy and where the world is headed, and you think about finances and money and the Christian in that perspective, you will see that there's a lot of things we need to focus on. And so we'll be getting into some of that, as well as in some programs, we'll be getting into things pertaining to relationships and the dynamics of relationships as well. And we have some other guest ministers that will be coming on, and they will also join with us. But for tonight, what we want to do, we'll be doing I have a very, a guest that will be coming on, a very great guest that will be coming on, and we'll be doing an interview tonight as it relates to some different topics on peace relations, peace education, even some topics on some touching on some things on finances. And so we are looking at having a good program tonight as well and enjoying the time tonight. So I want to set this up as we get into our interview and the discussions for tonight. Before I do that, let me also say, as per usual, if you are joining with us live on Facebook or on YouTube, thank you so much. Welcome. You could always send in your comments live as we do the interview, as we get into discussions. You could ask your questions, type in your questions if you want. And also, we can take live calls as well. You see the numbers on the screen. Let me give you the number again: 1-868 495. I'll give you that number just in a minute. You could 1-868-495-0903, 1-868-495-0903. So you could send your messages on Facebook, YouTube, or you could call us live and join the conversation, ask your questions, make your comments. That will be welcome as well. So this evening, it is my pleasure to introduce to us a special guest that we have tonight to do an interview. I believe he's well known. I believe most of us are very well aware and familiar with him and his ministry and what he has done and still is doing presently in ministry here in different places around the world. Today we have Professor Leslie DJ Rogers, who will be joining us on the program. And so I want to officially welcome him as he joins us this evening. Good evening to you, Professor Rogers.
Good evening to you, sir, and to the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, and those that are listening, those that are tuning, the international community.
All right, great. It's great to have you on with us, Professor Rogers. It's really great. We are so happy that I know you're a busy man, a busy schedule, but we are so happy that you have taken time to be with us. And before we get into anything, I just wanted to share with our viewers and our listeners some of information about yourself. And for those who are, I'm sure many are familiar, but for those who are not, I just want to share some information about yourself before we get into our interview for today. So Professor Rogers is well known here in Trinidad and of course in a number of places around the world. I just want to read just a short clip from his book. We'll talk about his book in a few minutes, but I just want to read a short clip from his book. This book we'll be speaking about in a few minutes, The Proliferation of Peace Education in the Caribbean. But just to give us some information about Professor Rogers, Professor Rogers is an educator specializing in the field of peace building. He holds a Master's of Arts degree in Peace Building and Reconciliation from the University of Winchester and is presently pursuing a doctoral degree in global governance. He holds a Master of Arts degree in Education from the University of Northampton. He's a very passionate person when it comes to sustainable peace and socio-economic development. He has participated in and contributed to peace building initiatives in Cameroon, Nigeria, Kenya, Syria, Sierra Leone, Ghana, Brazil, Venezuela, and other countries as well. He is a professor of agronomy and disaster management at Taraba State University, and he's also a visiting professor in the agribusiness at UNICLA Nigeria. And so he is very well versed, very well known, and I'm so very grateful and thankful to him that he has taken time to join me. So, once again, Professor Rogers, good evening to you, sir. Welcome, 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 and we are looking forward to a great time with you. Before we get into any questions or any comments, any the interview, do you have any general remarks, anything you would like to say to the listening audience?
All I would like to say to the listening audience is that they are my teachers. That's the most important thing. Most of the times, lecturers believe that they are the one that is in the domain of contributing knowledge and contributing wisdom. But it's the other way around, or I would say it is like sharing. Okay, 50-50. So when the audience engage, when the audience asks or students ask lecturers or teachers questions, do they know that they educate them further? They let them know what they don't know, what they need to know, what they should know, how okay, how to explain things, whether or not they were not efficient or effective in explaining certain things. So that's very important. So I am here to learn. I'm excited not really to share, but also to hear the voices of the listening audience. Thank you.
Amen. And of course, we are here to also glean from you and gain some knowledge and some information. And so let me remind our listening audience again, you could always type in your questions or your comments. And as I also mentioned previously, you could call in and you could join the conversation, ask your questions live. Dr. Rogers, I'm so happy that you are here with us tonight because I know you recently published your book, The Proliferation of Peace, Education in the Caribbean. And so we want to spend some time talking about that book and hopefully also have some conversations on some other areas, some other matters that are relevant to us. But I just read a short bio of yourself, but I don't know, before we get into some more details, if there is any other, things about yourself you would like to share. Just to give our audience an idea of the scope of your reach when it comes to working with countries, working with different organizations.
Yes, I have been a UN diplomat working in Vienna and working in Geneva for a number of years. So I understand, okay, diplomacy and international relations, international affairs. Right. Apart from that, presently, God has been gracious that I made history as a West Indian because I am a state official for the government of Nigeria in two capacities. I'm a special advisor. No, three, sorry. One is special advisor, one is international trade ambassador, and the other one is special advisor to heritage and ecotourism. So
Okay.
the things, and I also on the university senate, heading different institutions like director for youth affairs and women affairs, and director for researchers, and so on and so forth. So there are a lot. Okay, but as I said again, I'm more interested in engaging because being honest, I don't like to I don't like to what I say speak much more about myself because
Yeah.
sometimes, not always, people might get the impression that, hey, uh, like you want to swallow them up
Yeah.
because really and truly, I would tell you that I'm one globally making history, having more than 14 master's degrees.
Oh, wow.
So I don't like to really say that because when you say that, well, okay, see, some folks may feel swallowed up, and they don't understand that from God's point of view, from my point of view, the more I have studied, and I'm saying it with tears in my heart, the more I have studied, the more I have realized that I am kind of a kind of a fool, and I don't know really anything. And now I understood, and the amount of mistakes I've made in the past, the amount of wrong evaluations because of a lack of capacity building, a lot of research development. So that's and now I'm very happy, and now I understand God in depth, in depth. Thank you.
I think also is great for our audience to know that you are also the pastor at Prophetic Missions International in Chaguanas.
Yes,
All right, great. So, minister, pastor, and also diplomat, and
and
numerous.
also with churches planted all over,
Wow.
especially in South America.
Oh, yes. So, numerous hats, a lot of things doing in the ministry and so on. So, once again, I want to say thank you for taking time out to join with us. You recently wrote this book, I believe it was published this year, The Proliferation of Peace Education in the Caribbean. And I know that this book has delved into a lot of detail where peace building and peace relations, peace education, especially is concerned. There's a lot of detail, there's a lot of material in that book, and a lot that you had covered. So I want to begin in terms of getting into some details in where peace is concerned, which is something that we need so much in our country, with what's going on in our country with crime, criminality. I know in the book you made reference to things in Trinidad, Caribbean. And then, of course, we have a whole host of issues globally where conflicts are concerned. So I want to ask you to share with us the gist or the foundational principle behind the book in terms of what peace education is all about and what prompted you in writing this book and bringing it to the fore for the public.
I want to highly commend you for the position that you are in and how you are prolific. And I do not flatter people. I don't like doing that. But I love the question that you proposed to me because that's because weren't asked a question, but I answered the question at the book launch. How how I came across peace studies or studying peace. Oh, yes, what is peace? Some years ago, probably I could say about approximately 5 years ago, while being in Nigeria at Taraba State University, there was a convocation that is over 7,000 university graduates were graduating. And I being also a chancellor, because I have also an institute, I've been a chancellor and also one of the lecturers at that university there. I was invited by the vice chancellor. You had a lot of heads of states, governors that were there also. At the same time, another university that is in the University of Josh. Okay, now may I remind you, these universities are universities where you have graduates that are in UWI, graduates that are medical doctors, attorneys, everything, lecturers in throughout the Caribbean. So I was invited to a university in Josh. And as you have said, wearing many hats, I actually and I was invited there to lecture. So wearing many hats, I actually sharpened my teeth. I said, "Wow, probably it's going to be on molecular biology. That is my favorite. Probably microbiology. Good. Probably communications. Okay, right. Probably health sciences or physics or chemistry. Yeah. Or or agriculture. I said, wow, good. Or tourism or business. I love business. I lecture on business. I have PhD degrees in business, different types, strategic management. Only to realize that one of the professors from Josh University asked the other professor. He said that he requested that that he said that he saw that I came from a country in the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago, and that remember at this present moment Nigeria has been having ongoing conflicts and many conflicts on the continent of Africa. So by and large, Caribbean zone a peaceful place. So he said he requested that I come and lecture about peace education. What is peace education? And if I had degrees or studies about peace education, and if so, if I had studied at one of the universities in Europe, and I'm telling you, I was flabbergasted. I was taken by surprise. I'm a diplomat. I worked in the UN. Peace education. What is that?
Yeah.
I attended peace conferences, but what is he talking about? Peace education. And so I decided to, become a student. Went with my cohorts, and my cohorts were from countries like Asia, Europe. You wouldn't believe they were from Sri Lanka, they were from Nepal,
Oh.
and mostly European. You only had one African descendant, no, one African there. Can you imagine that? No one from the Caribbean, zero, none. I'm the
Wow.
only person that was from the Caribbean there. And actually, when I thought in my mind, and some of my cohorts, that it's going to be peace education, and peace education would be a piece of cake. Actually, half the class dropped out, and these are folks that are highly educated. It is more than that.
Yeah.
And I was actually what would I say? Just so that everyone will understand, I was actually a dunce concerning what is peace,
Yeah.
how to define peace as a whole.
When I was looking at the book and reading through it, I mean, I saw some chapters in this book that are very interesting. There's one chapter, just to mention the chapters here. The first one is peace building and peace education, and advocating peace education in the Caribbean, and it goes on. But could you give us an understanding of what, because we normally would hear, like in Trinidad, with all of the violence and with the gangs, we would hear about talking and having some kind of programs to rehabilitate persons and to get them out of the gangs and so on. But from your understanding, what is peace education and why is that different from what we might do in terms of trying to retrain people or get them out of the gangs? What exactly is this peace education about and why should we focus on that?
Very important, a very important question. And this is why all those programs, whether good intention, goodwill, have been failing. It is because upon proper research, why was that book written? The book was written actually for the governments and the academic institutions within the Caribbean. When no, well, we were in University of the West Indies, that's St. Augustine. And those that belong to the committee, actually the secretariat, because we have a secretariat concerning peace education. When they were engaging with UE lecturers and university students, they knew nothing about such. Nothing. And actually, throughout the Caribbean, there is not one peace education institution. There is no program concerning what is peace education in the governments, but as by and large, And actually, if anyone can research right now, all Caribbean countries have signed up to the UN Charter. Under UNESCO, we have been fulfilling everything or almost everything concerning education policies and standards
Yeah.
in our educational institutions. However, UNESCO said, and UNESCO not said, sorry, but mandated that every school, all institutions must must introduce peace education as a pedagogic policy adopted at all levels. And this is where all states, institutions, and private sectors have failed,
Okay.
and that's why you have a lot of crimes. Now, peace education is not a panacea. It is not it is not a fix it all. It is a process. It is something that is long term, scientific, and workable. Okay, viable and workable. Today, today, and in the past, institutions in Trinidad and Tobago, what they have been doing, they have been reactive, conflict, conflict management. You hear the term conflict management.
Yeah.
So wait until a conflict happens to manage the conflict. But peace education is proactive, proactive, preventing that conflict, and it's long term. Just as how, just as I didn't know that there's a total difference between peace building, peacekeeping, and peacemaking. Also, upon launching the book, I I actually invited governments, okay, different governmental departments, the private sector, the business sector, and they weren't interested. They weren't interested. I also went to Jamaica, the Ministry of Peace and Justice. And when I was speaking to them, I left the book there. They themselves had no knowledge, yet they have Ministry of Peace and Justice. I wrote the government of Grenada, no response. The government of St. Vincent the Grenadines, one government minister said he is going to contact the Minister of Education, no response. So it seems to me that the Caribbean, they do not want peace. Yet they have named themselves a zone of peace, but they do not know what peace really is or cannot define it. So
Yeah.
that was written not to demand, not to put my will, not for marketing strategy or no. It was just like a template. Here, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to think about. And up to this day, no one has engaged me. None, not one up to this present time. Okay.
Well, it's interesting you mention that because I saw in the book you made some references to cases before where certain countries did some things before, like Costa Rica. You mentioned some things that they tried there with the armed forces and whatnot that had some limited results. I also remember in the book you mentioned, I believe it was issue with Grenada years ago where the Caribbean countries tried coming together to get a force, but that really didn't have much long-term effect and so on. Um, but for us here specifically in Trinidad, with all the governments that we have had, whatever political party was in power at the point in time, inclusive of the present government right now, all the different strategies that governments have tried, all the different things that they did, crime plans and all those things, and we still have the crime proliferating in our country today. In light of what you mentioned in this book about peace education, what is the solution or the recommendation are you proposing in this book to us here specifically in Trinidad and of course in the wider Caribbean and elsewhere?
Yeah, okay. A multi-pronged approach to address the ills in society. Multi-pronged approach concerning reform in the judiciary. Okay. Multi-pronged approach concerning sector reform. Okay, in the you call it security sector reform, okay, SSR, multi-pronged approach concerning peace education in the schools. What 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 schools have been doing, what the ministry has been doing is just expelling, expelling, expelling uh, offenders. That's all. And what they have done is they have rubbed salt into the wound now. Now, what they have done is have police patrol schools or be in the schools, and they are going to remove the bad apples or the spoiled eggs. Okay? No, that is that is that is more an aggressive approach, an abrasive approach. So that so the book as a whole, okay, has multi-pronged approach and should be adopted in our constitutions, can be adopted in all our policies. Another thing, a multi-pronged approach concerning the media, because the media themselves needs peace education.
Yeah.
A multi-pronged approach concerning the business sector. Okay, the business sector, they themselves need peace education. So by and large, this is what that's why first world countries are where they are today. Because look, India, China, China has in China, imagine in China's curricula, they have up to doctoral levels in peace education. Nigeria, doctoral levels in peace education. And in the Caribbean, not one single institution. Oh, can anyone do a research right now? Not one book, not one book written about peace education. Because many have the concept that peace means absence of war.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or, okay, and they can be wrong. In the Caribbean, we don't have war. Okay, we don't have war, right? But yet we have war. Yet we have an ongoing war. Why? Because in peace education, you will understand that there are two terms: negative peace and positive peace. So what the Caribbean has is what you call negative peace, the absence of war, but yet there is a war, social war, political wars, economic wars, racism, all these things, religious wars, wars within our own selves, wars within our own conscience, wars
Yeah.
with family structures, wars. And when you are, and the education is important. Also, peace education goes hand in hand with the Bible, hand in hand with religion, because you have religious peace education. So, in this field of studies takes actually about 10 years if you want a doctoral degree. Master's degree might take 5 years. You become a scientist because you understand. Okay, then also there are certain sectors of peace education where you have to you have to have what you call proper studies in neurosciences, because it will tell you everything about the prefrontal cortex. It will
Yeah.
tell you about the amygdala, what it can do, the AI, all these things. Do you know God has wired our brains to forgive? And scientists who are, some of them who are atheists, have discovered that. So we were not wired to fight one another and to hold animosities, etc., against one another.
Yeah, and see that you mentioned that as well. One of the things I wanted to get into, there's a chapter in this book. Let me get the proper name: "Religion and Peace Building," where you mentioned what the role of religion when it comes to peace and peace building and so on. So in Trinidad here specifically, with all of the internal conflicts that we had, and I'm glad you mentioned there's negative and positive peace, because I think that's a concept that many of us don't have clear in our minds. We think that we call ourselves a zone of peace in the Caribbean. We don't have any conflicts, no wars and whatnot. So we are peaceful, but yet we have the ethnic issues, the all of the tension between all of the different races and so on that underlines everything. But in that chapter where you spoke about religion and peace building, the one of the questions that came in my mind, and I'm glad we're having this interview so I could ask this question: when it comes to the church specifically in Trinidad, and in the context of all the crime and situations that we are seeing in this country. I've been praying in this country over the years, all kinds of movements. The church has been doing, parachurch organizations have been doing different things. From what you have written in this book and your research in peace and peace building and so on, how would you recommend or suggest the church approach peace building and getting some changes in this country where peace is concerned?
When you say, when you use the term church, there are many denominations by and large. And what I would say is this: the church has failed. They have failed. Because, look, for instance, once again, see in a book called Peace Education, see in a book that is published, Peace Education, has any of the church leaders, I'm talking about the evangelicals, have they called me? Have they engaged? Have they inquired? No, no.
Okay.
So I'm speaking not from good. Well, Leslie Rogers' knowledge, Leslie Rogers' own concept. Can, if you read that book carefully, because that book is just only the tip of the iceberg. If you read that book carefully, you would see where we have all failed and where we are failing, and where the Caribbean states, Caribbean leaders, CARICOM, are not interested in peace. First of all, I want to reiterate, they have not adopted any of the policies what UNESCO said. And with all the education that I have had, and I'm still studying, I said it again, I was actually a dunce or illiterate or ignorant concerning peace education. So there's so much in-depth studies of concerning peace education. So much things like I tell you, that book is just a tip of the iceberg. Things like national dialogue, national apologies. There are so much things to discover there. In peace education, wow, and that is how societies have been able to solve their problems. One example, one prototype is Rwanda.
Yeah.
Rwanda. Do you know Rwanda? In order to solve, their problems concerning the almost 1 million or more Tuts, Tutsis and moderate Tutsis that were massacred. Do you know what the Rwandan government did? They didn't adopt the policy of the normal standardized judiciary system. You know what they did? They actually appointed local cultural traditional courts, okay, call them gashakas, to actually iron out all those atrocities there. See, that was one factor. Again, peace education. Okay. Now, religion has been religion has been a major contributor for wars. Yet, religion has been a major contributor to solve wars. Because, for instance, look at peace education. In that book, you have Dr. Canon Nolly Clark
Yeah.
representing the Anglican Church. He was the one that was the moderator. He was the one that was actually used actually as the go-between between the government and the Jamaat al-Muslimin.
Yeah.
So actually, he was engaged in peace. Okay.
Yeah.
So the churches, by and large, I was surprised that I am a minister of the gospel, and you have these lecturers who aren't ministers of the gospel, and they were quoting some scriptures. They were quoting scriptures that brought tears to my eyes and tears to those who were Hindus and Buddhists. I remembered one lecturer quoting from Psalms. He said, mercy, mercy, and truth came together, okay, under under the umbrella of justice. Okay? Mercy and truth kiss each other. Quoted Psalms. And again, we don't have these things, neither in our Bible schools, and no one seems to be, well, okay, I don't know if it's because of probably me, but it's not about me. All I'm interested is that someone adopts the policy and look the vision.
Yeah.
But once again, with all the promises, with all whatever, what is happening in our society here today will not work unless there is peace education. And quickly, and quickly, as we are speaking about business, okay, have you ever heard about? Have you ever heard about the? Have you ever heard the term peace index?
Well, the first time I heard this when I was reading your book.
Good. All right, peace index. Right, good. Yes, good. The World Bank, many other society, many top financial institutions, they are always researching your peace index. Okay, if they can invest, if they can give you loans, if they can do a lot of things, because there's a peace index that measures each country's. And recently, I think what Jamaica is high on the peace index list. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Okay? So peace index, that's very important. So while we're looking up at the figures, we need to understand you have to connect peace with financial policies and fiscal policies. Many believe that financial and fiscal are the same. No, I have my degrees in financial management. They are totally different. Okay, so we need to. So these two factors, fiscal and financial, must be aligned with our peace index, and our peace index must be on the all-time high. At the all-time high. Thank you.
So just to make sure that we have it clear for our listening audience, when you use the term peace education, you're referring to a multi-pronged approach in terms of policies, in terms of programs, in terms of educating people about changes in the way that we approach things on a personal level, so that we could have, if we could use the word, a overall change, like system-wide change in how we approach dealing with conflict, as opposed to just simply having negotiate. Because I know one of the big things now is sit down and let's have dialogues, let's discuss our differences and work out our differences. To bring it home, let's have some program in our country with all of the gangs, and try to re-educate and retrain. What you're referring to is not just simply that. You're referring to something bigger than that in terms of a holistic, systemic wide approach to addressing the situation.
Yes, that's right. What what we have, we don't really have dialogue. What we have, we have just mere talking. We think it's dialogue because in peace education there are many types of dialogues. Have you read the book there? Like you have what they call the container dialogue. You have the boom dialogue. We do not really have dialogue, okay? And we say discussions, but we do not really have discussions. You see, we can use terms, okay? We can use terms like uh, everyone use terms lightly, just use terms. But when coming to the connotations and the denotations, that's an academic factor that must define and redefine the interpretation of what is meant or what we meant to say. So we don't really have any dialogue. And that's what I'm saying. This study takes about 8 years, 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, and I'm a student, and you realize that you are undone. The amount of information, not just intellectually, but practical, because actually, with peace education, there is what you call practicum. You will have to go for some time, 3 months or a month, at one of those zones there, okay, that is having conflict. And what you have been, what you studied so far, you have to go there and sit and engage and everything. So it is not something that is just theoretical. You sit down, chair, okay, and just, okay, no, you have to go outside there. You have to feel the feeling, feel the people, everything. So we have been successful. And if I didn't have such education or such studies, I would have messed up so many mistakes I would have made. So I
Yeah.
understand. I get it. I understood. I understood quite a lot of things. So that book is very important.
One of the chapters as well, and I keep making reference to the chapters because the topics in these chapters to me are very interesting. One of the chapters you have here, chapter 8, is on de-radicalization, and I found that as um, a very, very pertinent topic, a very necessary topic and a necessary area to address. In the context again of our country, where we have, and I mean globally now, where we have persons who are so very, strong on their belief and their ideologies and are willing to become violent if necessary to enforce their ideologies. In the book, when you talk about the radicalization, you mentioned different areas of approaching that. Could you, first of all, give us an understanding of what causes a person to reach to that stage where they become so radicalized in the first, whether it be on a gang level here in Trinidad or even internationally, like we see in the Middle East with Iran and Israel and so on. Could you give us an understanding of what causes people to become radicalized in the first place and some of the steps we could follow to help de radicalize people and bring down the tension, bring down the violence?
Okay, number one. Okay. Number one. Number one. Okay, cultures. Number two. Okay, long-standing feuds, and generational feuds. That's number two. Number three. Okay, economic hardship. Number four can be misunderstanding. Okay, these are four areas where folks can be radicalized. Okay, misunderstanding. Now, now, when we bring parties together, okay, okay. For instance, look at the mistakes. I'm going to educate the population now and those that are listening. Let's say I am in because of peace education. Let's say I am in Afghanistan because we have been able to be in Afghanistan. We can go in Afghanistan. You wouldn't believe that Afghans respect respect peace educators. Iranians respect peace educators. They will. I'm not saying they will kill us, but most folks have lost their life here, life there, whatever. But they understand those that are peace experts. We are called peace experts. Now I'm going to give you an example. Right, you go into Afghanistan, right, and you have you have the Pashtuns, okay, fighting, okay, if a faction, okay, that are Sunnis,
Yeah.
right. This is what the Caribbean has been doing because of a lack of peace education, and this is what I would have been doing. What we do, and this is what they do in all these areas, lamented all over the place. What we do is we bring the two factions together
Yeah.
and begin to discuss the problem. Right. What that'll be causing more problem. What we need to do is you go to different factions by themselves, find out, okay, find out there are problems, there are a lot of issues, but you deal with the poignant one, the major issues
Okay.
that is the cause of this radicalization and this conflict. And sometimes this is what happens. They come to a place where they become timid. Timid. I'm talking about men that have murdered, men with blood eyes, bloodshot red. They got those AK-47s ready. You can see some blood stains on them. Their machetes, everything. And they come to a place where they embarrass themselves. They realize, wait, why are we fighting? What are we really fighting for? And they realize that they come to a place where it's like this. Okay, I'm fighting for something that he's not fighting for. And what he's fighting for is not what I'm fighting for. Thank you.
But one of the things that's going through my mind as you mentioned that as you are laying out these guidelines, one of the biggest things in radicalization is the ideologies that people have, and as you mentioned, has been developed over the years. Issues wasn't addressed, so all kinds of mindsets have developed and so on. When we talk about those ideologies and those mindsets, how what is the approach we need to use to address the ideology specifically and to get people to move away from some of those? Because I mean, when we talk about these things, many people, the first thing come to their minds is radical Islamists who go to do jihad, and they blow up themselves, and in the process they kill other people. And you go in with a bomb, you kill those, but then more spring up because the ideology still remains. So it fuels more persons to take the place of those who are killed. How do we address the issue of ideologies and to get people to move out from those ideologies and get out of the conflicts that they are in into peace?
Thank you. If you realize one factor is this: those that are engaged in radicalization, we have to we have to zero in on the type of candidates that they
Yeah,
concentrate upon.
yeah,
And these candidates are persons mostly that have breakdown social social problems, family issues, no father, no mother, the majority.
yeah,
And what we do is we target these persons, and the first thing that we discuss is their social standing, their social issues, their social problems. That's what we do. Okay? We actually present to them, okay, as a youth, as a father, as a mother, do you want this for your children? Do you want this to continue? Do you think that this makes sense by and large? And we let them choose.
okay.
We let them choose. And that's very important.
So since you mentioned that, and I mean, I'm glad you zoomed into those practical issues. But if you put the church now into that context of going and looking at the vulnerable people who are targeted and their issues, let's try to bring it on a personal level. If for us as believers, individual Christians and so on, who see people in our communities who might be vulnerable and who might be the target of those people who come to radicalize them, how could I approach from me as an individual, see the people in my community? What could I do as an individual to help those persons not to become radicalized in the first place? And if they are, what kind of person, because we talk about peace education, what could I do as an individual to help that person get out of their radicalized state?
The very thing that you just mentioned, peace education, that's important. Peace education. Now, now the UNESCO said that peace education, okay, should be a pedagogic topic concerning early childhood, because it is scientifically proven, and I'm a psychologist by profession also. It is scientifically proven, right? Okay, it's something that is universal, that the best time for any human being, you call it those different windows for a child to adopt a language, accurate accent, for a child to adopt policies, principles, everything is between the ages 3 and 7.
Yeah.
And if we, in all these areas that where we describe as the underserved, the underprivileged, etc., if we should just piecemeal what is peace, what is peace education? Because remember, as I said, peace education is something that is long term. Long term. Peace education is not about negotiations. Negotiation is something that is short term. Negotiation is a bargaining on two sides, 50-50, okay, or sometimes zero sum. All right, zero sum effect. One win, one side win, and the other nothing. But it's something that is an ongoing processes. If if that should happen, if we should introduce that, every soldier needs peace education, but it doesn't mean to say that that soldier mustn't be involved in combat. No, he
Yeah.
will actually know how to handle his enemies. Okay, every police officer. That's a problem. The police service knows nothing about peace education. We would never, and I pray God to hear me, we would never have an efficient and effective police service if they have no knowledge about peace education. If you go further, we cannot have effective medical doctors. Okay, you call it okay, you call it Medipeace. Medipeace. We cannot have effective nurses. The hospital actually is a place of social conflict, economic conflict,
Yeah.
scarcity of resources, scarcity of beds. How do we manage that? Okay, scarcity of medical supplies. Okay, and accoutrements. Peace again. Peace, the underlying factor. Hence the reason God said in Psalms 34 through the psalmist David, seek peace and pursue it.
Pursue it, yeah.
Pursue. Do you know what it is to pursue? Pursue means a police chase. The more you run is the more I'm after you.
Yeah, man.
All right?
Well, Professor Rogers, the time has passed
Thank you.
so very quickly, so very quickly, and we are up to our time to close. But before we do, I just want to give you the next few moments, just to give us any closing words, any closing encouragements, peace relations, or anything generally. Any encouragement for us? Any words of advice just before we wrap up this interview tonight?
Okay, the encouragement that I would like is that upon this message and upon this interview, that everyone right now should be interested. They should actually petition the government. They should petition the private sector. They should petition communities where they are. They should petition the various church leaders about peace and concerning peace education because it is needed now more than ever before. And actually, it is an ongoing policy within all nations, including China, India, even Iran. There are institutions that are developing there also. It's very important. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Professor Rogers. Thank you for taking the time, sharing this last few minutes with us. We are so grateful for your advice and for the book, Proliferation of Peace Education in the Caribbean. Thank you so much for your ideas and the enthusiasm with which you share these principles. And so we pray God's blessings on you and your ministry and all that you do here locally as well as abroad as well. So God
Thank
bless
you.
you very much, sir.
And you can and also it's on Kindle, so I made it available for just 9 US. It's available. It's very important. And
Okay, all right. Yes.
yes, and one thing, I would like to let the audience know. This I shouldn't be letting out this secret, but but in the next 2 or 3 years also, and I want them to record this. Okay, globally, internationally, if you don't have a certificate concerning this, you would not be viable for whatever job that you would like to do. If even you want to be a scientist. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Wow. Okay, all right. So thank you very much, Professor Rogers. And so let me say to our listeners, thank you so much for joining with us for the last few moments. You have been listening to an interview with Professor Leslie DJ Rogers as we discuss his book, The Proliferation of Peace Education in the Caribbean and more the matters related to peace. I want to say thanks to those who gave us our comments on Facebook and on YouTube. If you would like to contact Professor Rogers, you could use the number 738 1-868-738-2473, 1-868-2473. So you could get some more information. And also if you would like to get the book as well. So thank you so much for those who have joined with us. I saw one person requested prayer. We will remember you in prayer as well. Thank you so much for your help. So good night to you, and join us in the next program. We have having some more interviews on different topics with different persons as we go on in the program. So look out for those. But until the next time, thank you so much for joining with me. God bless you, and take care until then.
Heavenly Father, thank you for your word and for the life lessons you shared with us today. Thank you for every listener who tuned in with an open heart. Help each person take what they heard and apply it in daily life, in choices, in words, and in actions. Lord, for anyone listening who wants to grow closer to you, we invite them right now to turn their heart toward you. Give strength to the weary, peace to the troubled, and direction to those seeking answers. Draw us closer through your truth and your love. As we leave this program, go with us. Guide our steps, guard our minds, and keep us walking in faith. We give you all the honor and praise. In Jesus' name, amen.
Hello, dear listeners of Growth Radio and Growth Live Stream. We value your thoughts and questions as you grow with us each week. If you have a question about today's program, we invite you to send it in. All questions should be short and respectful, and our presenter will take time to answer them during next week's broadcast. To submit your question, simply send it to support@growthradiott.com. We're looking forward to hearing from you, because your question could be someone else's breakthrough. Thank you for being part of the Growth Radio family. God bless.
Growth Radio, Growth Radio, Growth Radio, national, regional, international, establishing the will of God in the earth as it is in heaven, and making people feel like family.
Let's go. This is your radio.
We are Growth Radio, opening the gates for the King of Glory, the Lord, strong and mighty, the Lord, mighty in battle.
Join me, David Bajnath, on the program Life Lessons from the Bible every Thursday at 7 p.m. right here on Growth Radio. In this program, we will discuss biblical lessons for daily living and the solutions God gave us to face life's problems. We will also be studying Bible prophecies to give you a biblical worldview of current events and to help you prepare for things which are to come. Join me live on YouTube, Facebook, growthradiott.com, and our allied stations. Life lessons from the Bible. Learn the principles, live the successful